Welcome to Chris's Storytelling Corner. My name is Christopher Moldong, and I am an author. Today I will do manga reviews for Negima volumes 33 to 35. Next week I will finish the Negima series and review volumes 36 to 38. I'll also reveal the next manga series that I will do reviews for. Also, check out my reading of The Orthodox Clash, pages 5 to 7, and next week, pages 8 to 10. You can check out my author's website at www.chrismoldon.com. You can buy my first novel, a fantasy adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Convent Kingdom, for $4.99. A lot of that story is influenced by different manga, anime, and whatnot. Also, for $2.99, you can buy my short story collection, a collection of 10 short stories in the horror, fantasy, and realistic fiction genres. Check out my Twitter page and author's Facebook page. Links to all these will be provided on the description. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel if you're on YouTube, or follow, share, and comment on this channel if you're listening to this on SoundCloud. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, please rate, review, and share this channel. So, the way that this works is that I will do a pretty detailed recap uh, of, uh, of, of a volume, and then I'll give my thoughts on said volume, and then continue on till I do like these three volumes. So, let's get started with volume 33. The volume begins with Negi's group facing off against Zaize. Mana gets behind her and manages to grab a hold of her. Zaize is surrounded, but she uses her power to push them all away. Zaize also keeps saying Poyo. Through a screen, the other girls see Negi's group fighting Zaize, and she believes that Negi's path will lead to more bloodshed than Fate's. They all suddenly they all somehow end up in Mahora Academy. So, back with Fate, his girls see through a monitor Zaize fighting against Negi and his group. And then all of a sudden they're gone from the sensors. None of the girls, Fate, or Dynamis knows who she is. We're then introduced to a hooded person who says that Zaize is an old friend. Or, the girl is an old friend. Back with Negi, Zaize tells him that Negi's path will most likely lead to the future that Chao Lingshin was trying to prevent. Negi says that he plans to move forward and pick up where his father left off. Zaize then gets out her artifact, Magic Lantern Circus, and a large flash of light appears. Then we see Negi in bed with Asuna waking up. Kanoka is there with them. Negi says that summer's over and that it's the first day of the new term. Negi, Asuna, and Kanoka run to class. Setsuna, for some reason, is really distant with Kanoka. Negi sees Takamichi and he tells Negi that the flight from England is running late today. Negi says that One-chan is coming today. After class, he sees Evangeline walking with Chao. Negi calls Evangeline Master, and Evangeline says not to call her that or to even talk to her. While this is happening, Zaize is watching the situation. A voice tells Negi that he's sure to make friends with her in this world too. The class is then empty. Negi then sits with some of his students in front of a coffee shop, and in an internal monologue, he feels like he's forgetting something very important, and that there's something he needs to accomplish. Someone then calls out to Negi, and turns out to be his father, Nagi, and his mother, Arika. Negi's students all seem to be familiar with the two, and Arika hides behind Nagi, and Negi starts to cry. Zaize watches the situation and says that there's no going back. It is an eternal garden, unspoiled paradise, a perfect world, Cosmo and Telekia. Nagi and Rika go to Negi's place, the dorm where he lives with Asuna and Kanoka, and Negi and Rika are uneasy around each other. Many other classmates come into his dorm. Then Nagi, Nagi, and Rika take a walk together and hold hands. However, Negi knows it isn't real and acknowledges that Zaize is watching them. Zaize tells him that this is just one reality. He then says this is an illusion, or she says this is an illusion created by her artifact. She then shows him her Pactio card. Zaize shows Negi everyone else's reality. She then tells him the password to escape, Adesha Pala, or which means a little courage. Zaize tells Negi that her sister will be waiting for him outside and that she'll wait for him along with class rep and the others at Mahora Academy. He then says Adesha or Dasha Pala. Back with Zaize's sister, Chisame and Make are the only two not taken into the Eternal Garden. Apparently, they are very satisfied with their lives, even though Chisame strongly denies it. Zaize's sisters, with Zaize's sister, her fingers become like long claws. Make and Chisame get their artifacts out to fight her. They see Negi on the ground, and suddenly he just disappears. Negi is then next to Zaize's sister in his lightning form. They then fight each other. Zaize's sister reveals that she feels that they should follow fate's plan in order to avoid tragedies. Also, she reveals that she's not from the magical world or old world. She then reveals that according to the calculations from a research facility, the destruction of the magical world could begin in as little as 9 years and 6 months. Negi then tells her 9 years and 6 months will be more than enough. Negi then calls out to Fate, who he knows is watching him. Tells him that he'll fight him, but also that he has a plan to stop the magical world from getting destroyed. Negi tells Chisame that he has the theory worked out almost perfectly, and he's already conducted preliminary experiments. It's only in the idea stage, and it wouldn't be possible without everyone's cooperation. When he goes back to Mahora Academy, he'll ask class rep for help. Zaize's sister then gets into her demon form. She says that she is a rather distinguished demon as well. So she then shoots a beam at Negi, but Setsuna, Kaede Kufe, and Mana block it. Negi calls Zaize's sister Poyo and says that he'll fight her. Mana then insists on fighting her and tells Negi and his team to get to the upper levels. Mana uses magic bullets on Poyo and tells her that she'll gamble on Negi-sensei. Mana then becomes a demon and gets into her own demon form and reveals that she is half demon. Negi tells everyone that there's been some changes, but they're moving according to plan. He's telling this like everyone. They all cut up with each other somehow, like the rest of the girls, and now they're just moving according to plan. Team 1 will continue repairs on the 2 ships and secure an escape route. Excuse me. Team 2 will rescue Anya, and Team 3 will retrieve the code of the Life Maker. Haruna, using the Pactio card, asks Negi if Team 2 will also rescue the real Asuna. Negi says yes. Some demons with the code of the Life Maker block Negi's way. Negi defeats them easily while Asuna and Anya watch through a monitor. The real one. The real Asuna has memories of the past with Nagi and Gato. Nagi tells her that somebody will come along after him to take care of things. Dynamis says that it's Takamichi and, back with Dynamis. He says that it's Takamichi and Godel's fault for Cosmo and Telekia being nothing more than a few members. Takamichi hunted Cosmo and Telekia down, while Godel's elite forces chased them down. Dynamis survived by playing dead. Dynamis says he'll face Negi's group himself. Tsukiyomi says she'll go with him. So Negi's group reaches the top of a spiral staircase. Asuna, I think it's the fake Asuna, asks how he's able to maintain his lightning form. And it's revealed that Magia Arabia is increasing his magical capacity, and he's getting more acclimated to it, but it's eating away at him. Negi and his team go through the door to the graveyard, and Dynamic Tsukiyomi and three of Fate's girls are waiting for him. Elsewhere, Natsumi is using her artifact. Uh, can't really pronounce this. Adiutor Solitarius, which is a mask that makes a user's presence extremely weak. It works on as many people as it needs to as long as they're holding hands, and they sneak past a bunch of demons. Negi then fights against Dynamis. Dynamis uses the code of Life Maker to release all of the girls inside of Kaede's cloth. Tsukiyomi and two of Fate's girls surround the girls. Then Negi attacks one of Fate's girls. I think it's the one that uses fire. I'm not too sure though. And then Setsuna fights against Tsukiyomi. One of Fate's girls uses her artifact to paralyze Negi. Nogandoka then tackles the girl that uses fire. Yuna, Make, Kufe, Kaede fight back with some of them using their artifacts. I don't. Kaede doesn't actually need to use her artifact, so. Elsewhere, Natsume and her group manage to avoid Fate using her artifact. Kotaro thinks of striking him, but he holds back. He actually, imagines that he tries to strike at him, and then he actually imagines his own head getting cut off by Fate. So, he just kind of stops himself at the last minute. Setsuna and Tsukiyomi fight, and Setsuna manages to strike her down briefly. It is revealed that Tsukiyomi has a demon blade Hina. The sword increasingly takes over Tsukiyomi with its evil, and makes her, she becomes just, black, the whole time. And just, obviously, more and more evil. Then Dynamis, he gets into his battle mode. It's kind of comical, because he actually gets, totally naked at first, and then he gets into this battle mode. Kufe, using an artifact, fights against all three of Fate's girls. Akko uses, or she says Adit, my bad, and unveils her artifact, which is a syringe, which increases her allies' abilities exponentially. She uses it on the fake Asuna, Yuna, and Make. At the end of the volume, Fake, Asuna, Make, and Yuna fight against Fate's girls and hold their own. So, some thoughts on volume 33. So, we find out that it's not Zaize Rainy Day from the class that's fighting against Negi. It's her sister, they call her Poyo, who appears to be very powerful. It actually kind of makes me wonder how strong and what powers Zaize has, because, Poyo is as powerful. Zaize, I assume, would also be very powerful. So, we know that Cosmo and Telekia is an eternal garden. We know that the inhabitants of the magical world aren't actually dying. They're just going into this eternal garden. So, without Fate, with Fate's plan, he thinks that it's alright. But it looks like Negi has a new plan in order to just save everyone. We don't really know what it is, though, yet. But I'm sure we're going to find out. There's another big reveal here, too. Mana is really half demon. It's really interesting just because she was already one of the strongest characters in the class. I mean, with the guns and her fighting ability and whatnot. She was already very powerful. On par with, well, seemingly on par with Kaede and probably Setsuna as well. But it would appear that she's even stronger. There's a lot of characters in the story that are just super powerful. Jack Rockon, Fate, Nagi, Negi's kind of there now, Evangeline. Makes me kind of wonder where Mana or even Zaize or Poyo kind of line up with those other characters. Negi fought against Dynamis, which was pretty cool. It shows that Negi is just not one of the strong guys, but evil. He's now able to defeat the strong enemies, without help, too. You know, early on, he generally needed help. Like when he fought Evangeline, he needed Asuna, and that wasn't even Evangeline going all out. Apparently, um, in the tournaments, he like barely won in fights that I think that his opponents were holding back. He fought Herman, he had Kotaro, but now he's able to just like beat the strong guys all by himself, be in his lightning form or Magia Revia form and whatnot, and do damage. He saw Ala Alba versus Fates Girls. It's bound to happen, all these girls, Make, Yuna, and whatnot, kept getting artifacts. It's like, you can't not be fighting if you have these artifacts. Uh, and with them getting artifacts, they just needed someone to fight, and they were ready made. Um, and then they did Setsuna versus Tsukiyomi. That was cool because it actually paid homage to Love Hina. The demon sword Hina is actually the sword is introduced in Love Hina. Uh, that was presented to Motoko, if I'm not mistaken. No. It was Keitaro's like heirloom or something like that. But now I forgot. Yeah, I think it was his heirloom, and then Naru somehow got possessed by it, and it made it really strong. And then yeah, so that was cool. There is some crossover there because they had the Shinmei school, of course. But now it's like you're getting into like huge crossover with like, well, not huge crossover, but like very obvious crossover with like Love Hina and Negima by introducing this sword. So, on to Volume 34. Volume begins with Takemichi atop of a ship using Gato's techniques to fight against incoming demons. Godel reveals that the enemy has reached the final stages of the ritual and that they have about 3 hours to stop him. Takemichi asks for a small ship to like help out Negi, but Godel tells him that he needs him where he is, and he can't really leave, or else all their ships will be sunk, pretty much, um, or blasted out of the air. Kotaro's group is in front of a door. Yue disables the traps to the door. When they open it, Anya comes rushing out, and she tells them that fate took Asuna away. And that's Natsumi though doesn't know what she means because she's not in on the whole like fake Asuna thing. Uh, so Kaede and Negi fight against Dynamis, and then Kaede tells Negi to go to Fate. So Negi gets on his wand and takes Chisame, Nodoka, and fake Asuna with him. But then Dynamis stops Negi from flying away and injures him pretty badly. Then the Magia Revia spreads across Negi's body, and he becomes like that like monster-like guy, or in this like monster form. Everyone, including those not directly around Negi, like Mana or Poyo, can sense the Magia Revia. Mana says that he won't be able to turn back. Negi then rips Dynamis in half with only Dynamis' upper body remaining, yet he's still alive, actually. He's actually talking and whatnot. So Dynamis wants Negi to kill him and give into the darkness, but one of Fate's girls gets between Dynamis and Negi. Negi tries to strike at her, but Shiori gets in the way, and Negi stops himself from like just flat out killing her. But he does stab Shiori. The girls that are with him try to stop Negi, and Chisame slaps him. Negi then manages to cut Chisame just a little bit in the head. I think it's in the forehead. Shiori is revealed to be fine, and that Negi at the last second managed to divert the attack. Negi then collapses, and Kanaka says that her powers can't heal him. He also has all these like cracks along his body too. Shiori tells her former teammates that she wants to believe in Negi. Homura gets angry at that, so that's the one that does fire. Dynamis tells Homura that there's no need to fight and that they've won. He reveals that in 1 hour and 40 minutes their plan will come to fruition. So even with Negi out of commission, Kaede says that they must not be daunted. Sayo and Chamo, riding a spy golem, appear. Sayo says that their team is in trouble and needs a change in plans. And then they then see that Negi is pretty much out of commission. Chamo says that the only strong guy left is Fate, but Shiori tells them that there's another woman with them called the Gravekeeper, who is very mysterious. Nodoka, using her artifact, asks Dynamis where Asuna and the Great Grandmaster Key are, along with what the current situation is there. Dynamis just tells them straight out that Asuna is at the Great Altar, and that the Great Grandmaster Key is floating in the air some distance away from her. He then shows a diagram about it, and Chamo says it likes to be about like 200 meters away from where Asuna is. Chamo comes up with a plan to avoid fighting Fate and to use Natsumi's artifact to sneak in and take what they need. Then Kaede volunteers to be a decoy. Akko then asks if by being around Asuna would the artifact's power be weakened, and Dynamis tells them that it would. Yui speaks to them through a spy golem and says that she heard everything. Yui says that she may be able to do something about the problem of Asuna weakening the artifact's power. She then volunteers to be the decoy. Kotaro says that he will take on Fate, and Makie says that she can use her artifact to get the Great Grandmaster Key, and Nina says that she'll go with her. So Chachimaru speaks to them through a spy golem, because they're in like different levels, and Chachimaru also volunteers to help with the diversion. So back with Fate and Asuna, they're performing the ritual. Fate says that one of his remaining roles is to revive him. We don't know who him is. With Chisame, Akira, Akko, Kanoka, and Kufe stuck with Negi, Chisame asks Dynamis some questions, because they're just kind of sitting there waiting for things to transpire, pretty much. Yet, using Natsumi's artifact, Natsumi, Kotaro, Asakura, Beatrix, and Yui infiltrate the Great Altar. Kaede then appears and takes Nodoka, Sayo, Yuna, and Make out of her cloth, her artifact, and then they all hold hands. As they're holding hands and Natsumi is using her artifact, Fate gets in Natsumi's face. He's just like right in front of her, like pretty much looking at her, but he can't really tell if he sees her or not. And the floor underneath them crumbles. Kotaro tells everyone to jump to the right, but also to keep holding hands. Fate then walks away, and Natsumi faints. Her hat falls off, but Kotaro catches it with his teeth while still holding hands. Natsumi though decides to, even though she just totally was just fatigued by what happened, she decides to continue on with the mission, and they sneak past Fate. Chichimaru uses her artifact to shoot a beam at Fate, and he realized that was just a diversion. Kotaro fights against him, and Fate sees Natsumi's artifact and says that it hasn't existed in 280 years. Then you see Yuna, she's shooting at one of Fate's girls. I think it's Shirabe. Kaede goes after Asuna while Make tries to get the Great Grandmaster Key, and then Kotaro goes into his beast form. Beatrix gets hit by one of Fate's petrification needles and turns into stone. Yuna is actually able to see all of the petrification needles and shoots at them. She runs out of ammo and she takes a needle to her hand, and that needle is aimed at Make. Sayo also blocks a needle coming after Nodoka, and she turns into stone. Yuna then also turns into stone. Make hands Nodoka the Great Grandmaster Key, and Fate stabs Kotaro through the stomach with like a giant spike. Chachamaru uses artifact again, which shoots a full capacity beam at Fate. And then Nodoka uses relocate. Excuse me. Asakura tells Nodoka that they're still too close to the altar because they did like they're not they relocated, but they didn't get very far from like where they already were. So elsewhere, Chachamaru tells Colette, Misora, Kokone, Mei, Takane, and Haruna of the situation. They get on the Great Paru-sama, but Quartem, the Avarunkus of Fire, rips Chachamaru in half. So Nodoka tries to use the Great Grandmaster Key to relocate, but she gets hit by lightning from Quintum, the Avarunkus of Wind. Quintum then takes the Great Grandmaster Key, and Nodoka is unconscious. Dynamis then tells the girls that uh, he's with, pretty much like Negi, like Ku, and like Chisame and whatnot, that Tertium is not the last card in their hand. Sextum then appears, the Adveranchus of Water. So back on the Great Paru-sama, Quartum continues to attack Chachamaru. Haruna then blasts the thrusters of her ship. Quartum then gets a giant fire sword out and attacks the ship. Johnny flies on his manta to block the attack. Johnny's ship gets destroyed and he disappears. Most likely, like it looks like it's a rewrite. Um, so Kaede fights against Quintum. She gets him away from the other girls and uses 16 shadow clones. Like Quintum just gets the better of Kaede easily and then gets out Gungnir, which is a giant lightning spear. So fake Kaede appears behind the girls with the Great Grandmaster Key. Quintum then defeats Kaede, so Kaede's just like unconscious or, well, she actually looks like she's dead. Actually, like lying on a rock. Then we're back with Quartum, who takes the Great Paru-sama down. Elsewhere, we see Negi sitting alone on a rock in some sort of plains. It looks like some sort of internal thing. Nagi shows up, his father, and talks to him. Outside, or out of his head or whatever. Sexum then revives Dynamis. So they're pretty like they're in dire straits here. So back with Kotaro, he tells the girls that he's with that he'll fight against Quintum and tells them to flee. Quintum seemingly just defeated Kotaro because we see Quintum just chasing after the girls. Kotaro's nowhere to be seen. Make and Yue fight against him. We see Sexum fighting against Ku, and she freezes her. Sexum then tells the girls that she'll guide them to the Eternal Garden. Back with Negi, Tosaka, Evangeline, and Rakan appear and talk to him. Evangeline tells Negi to walk the Grey Path. Nagi tells him that he'll be waiting at the end of his path. Negi says that he's on his way. So Sexum puts Chisame, Chamo, Kanoko, Akira, and Akko to these giant ice cubes that, but there's like water inside, so it causes them to drown. Negi wakes up, he returns to normal, because he had all the, he pretty much just touches Sexum in like the forehead, and then he returns to normal. He doesn't have all the cracks on his body, he just looks normal. And he frees the girls from the ice cubes, to the surprise of Dynamis. Sexum then tries to attack them, but the Gravekeeper stops her by putting her hand inside of her and saying that she'll crush her core. The Gravekeeper then says that she was never on Dynamis' side. She also says that she'll take a chance on Negi. Negi asks the Gravekeeper, "Are you my mother's, Asuna-san's?" And then, it doesn't actually finish. The Gravekeeper tells him to go and calls Negi her progeny. Quartum continues to attack the Great Paru-sama. He summons a Fire Lord, which is this like giant fire demon. You then see Negi fighting the Fire Lord. Then we're back with Quintum, who tries to attack Natsume, but Fate stops him. So at the end of the volume, both Negi and Fate say, "I won't let you touch them." So, thoughts on volume 34? We see Fate fighting against the other Avarunkus. Like, what is this about? Is he now a good guy? Like, what changed? You know, he has a mission to take care of. I don't really see why he's fighting these other Avarunkus, um, and seemingly saving Negi's friends. It seems very weird. I guess we'll just see what happens, really. And these other Avarunkus, man, they just came out of nowhere. They're all really strong and really vicious too, especially Quartum, the guy, the one that uses fire. The girls are just no match for them. Kotaro's no match for them. Kaede's no match for them. And yeah, I mean, you're talking like striking Nadoka with lightning, pretty much almost killing Kaede and Kotaro, just wrecking the Great Paru-Saman, just ripping Chachamaru in half. I mean, they are very devious. As opposed, I mean, Fate's not exactly an angel himself. He's toning everyone and their father literally because like he turned Aishun into stone. Um, so everyone and their father into stone. So it's not like Fate is an angel or anything like that. But these guys um, definitely have a bigger mean streak. I find Dynamis to be kind of funny. He's very talkative, but he's also quite devious as well. Like he had a plan set up, and it looks like it's coming to fruition. So there's a new plan without Negi, which is pretty neat. Natsume was a huge part of this plan, and it was nice to see her kind of take center stage. She has a really cool artifact because it's like the ultimate like hiding tool or espionage or stealth tool, you know. That face off with Fate was really cool. It was really suspenseful because it just seemed like Fate totally saw her and she's just sweating bullets the whole time. And it turned out he didn't even see her. It was pretty cool. Um, Kaede, she, and she saw me to some extent. They kind of became like the de facto leader of like Ala Alba with Negi's absence. Kaede kind of came across as the strongest one in the group, but also one of the more dependable ones too. Chisame kind of took a leadership role as well, in a sense. Um, she's taking care of Negi and whatnot. But yeah, Kaede seems to be like the number two person of the group right now. And then we also got introduced to the Gravekeeper. Like, who's this person? Is it progeny means descent is like what, a descendant? So is what, like, is she Negi's grandparent? She mentioned Asuna and Arika, his mother, are like sisters, and they all come from the same bloodline of like starting with the originator or whatever. So I assume that Negi was gonna say like my mother's mother or something like that. I don't really know. Um, really interesting, real mysterious. You don't actually get it. We don't. I don't know if we will get an answer there. Count to volume 35. The volume begins where volume 34 left off with you got Negi fighting against Quartum and the Fire Lord. He defeats the Fire Lord and beats up Quartum for hurting Chachamaru. He then just defeats Quartum. Fate fights against Quintum, and Quintum actually gets the better of him. Nadoka this whole time has been unconscious, but she finally gets up. And then as Fate is fighting against Quintum, he's thinking about Rock On and what he told him, like, are you having fun, like, about having fun and whatnot. Um, What else did he say? Just some inspirational stuff or whatever. So Quintum throws the Gungnir giant spear at Fate, but Fate catches it in his hand. Fate then defeats Quintum with just one punch. It's just one blow. Fate then takes the Great Grandmaster Key and tells Nadoka to hand over Asuna. Back on Earth, Ayaka and the other students fly back to Japan. Chizuru sees a beam of light coming from Mahora through the plane window. Evangeline watches the great tree emanating a massive amount of light. Zaize tells her that Negi is doing well and that Negi is fighting the final battle. Mana and Poyo are still fighting each other. They sense that Negi has revived. Poyo says that Negi may be too late to save the world. Takamichi and Godel fight against demons. Godel says that the destruction of the magical world has started. In Megalomysambria, at the coast of Megalo Bay, Donette and the citizens watch a giant tornado coming towards them. Donette can see the barren wasteland of Mars in the tornado. The citizens evacuate. More tornadoes appear across the magical world. So Kanoka, Kufe, Ako, Kira, Chisame, Shiori, and Chamo retreat. Ako apparently used her artifact to cure everyone, including Kufe, who was like pretty much just trapped in ice. They then run into Anya. So back at the Great Altar, Fate retrieves Shirabe, one of his girls, the one with the violin. So they tie up Nadoka and Natsume and apprehend Asuna to complete the ritual. Fate takes Nadoka and Natsume's Pacto cards. Nadoka tells him that Negi wants to be his friend. She asks if he likes coffee and that she'd love for him to come to Mahora Academy. She says that she knows a place with really good coffee. Fate then slaps her and she just smiles. The great Paru-sama appears with Negi standing on top of it. Setsuna continues to fight Tsukiyomi, who is just totally enveloped with like evil from the Hina sword. Negi and Fate get into each other's faces. With Negi, he's not even in his like lightning form. He's just in his like normal human form, and they're just standing like staring each other down. Chisame and a group teleport to the Great Altar. Fate punches Negi in the face, but Negi just takes it, and it's shown that he has one of those runes on his face. Fate tells him that back in Kyoto, he told Negi that he wasn't ready. Now, he's finally made it. He also tells him that he cannot accept Negi's answer. Negi tells Fate that he'll make him understand with his fist. The girls come to the conclusion that Negi has made Magia Arabia completely his own, and that he is just like Evangeline now. Negi and Fate then fight each other, and as they're fighting, Fate seems to be enjoying himself. So Shirabe still has Asuna, who is asleep. Kufe, Anya, and a tied up Nadoka and Natsume try to stop her from reaching the top of the altar. Shirabe gets out her artifact and attacks the girls. Misora appears and takes her violin away. However, Shirabe says Adit and gets it back. Takane then attacks her. Tree roots grab and bring Asuna to the altar. And you see May and Colette flying towards Asuna. So Takane and Kufe then get the better of Shirabe, and then we're shown a flashback where Fate saved Shirabe when she was younger. The tree roots take Asuna to the altar, and Shirabe has set up a wood spirit barrier around Asuna. So the Gravekeeper's Palace and the floating island that it's on suddenly appears on Earth, and it's above Mahora Academy, actually above the Great Tree. Eventually, Zaise, the headmasters, Aishin, and Alberio see Negi fighting against Fate. As Fate fights Negi, Fate tells them that it finally makes sense what it means to have fun. Fate tells Negi that he has obtained the same power as his master. He asks him if he knows the price he'll pay for it. Negi says that he's prepared for it, and he says that he'll stop him without killing him. So, everyone, like all the girls and whatnot, realize that they're back at Mahora Academy. Ayaka's group returns from England and sees everything transpiring. Ayaka approaches Evangeline and asks what all this is. She then calls her Dark Evangel. Ayaka tells the class to begin Project 3A. You see Hakase gathering information, and Evangeline agrees to help them. Demons come from the gate and start attacking Mahora Academy. Nutmeg, who's like the other girl that like is usually with Takane. Some of the students and the magic teachers fight against the demons. No one gets killed from the demons, but they get stripped naked. So it's like they have like the naked ray thing. Um, then you see beams attacking a few of the demons, and then Ayaka appears with Evangeline standing in the background on top of one of those mid-level boss robots back in the back with with the whole thing with Chow. Ayaka tells everyone that it's the last day of the summer vacation surprise event, and that it's Mahora Academy versus the Martian invaders. It's a repeat of the school-wide event at the festival. So a giant hologram of Ayaka appears, telling the students that the enemy's objective is the World Tree. The students and magic teachers then fight against demons. Evangeline asks Alberio what they are hiding under that World Tree. Back with the great Parusama, it crash lands onto Mahora Academy. Haruna gets out, and she's just super happy to see everyone and to be back home. Hakase checks on Chechimaru. She says that she'll fix her. Ayaka then comes where like Haruna is and says to her that she expects a thorough explanation. Elsewhere, Yue and Makie wake up. Yue finds Kaede's artifact, her cloth. They see Asakura and Yue heals her. Yue and Makie then bond, with Makie figuring out that Yue is in love with Negi and telling her that she has already told Negi that she loves him. They then run to where Negi is. Then Kaede, who I guess is alive, checks in on Kotaro, who is just unconscious. Makie, Yue, and Asakura meet up with her. Then Alberio, back with like Al and Evangeline, he asks Evangeline if she knows anything about the man who made her what she is. Evangeline tells him that she killed him long ago. Alberio then asks her what if that man didn't die, and what if he were still alive and right over there. Then you see Yue flying on a wand with Asakura and Makie. And Kaede's with them, but I can't tell if she's using Shundo or if she's just like jumping from building to building to where Negi is. Kaede sees the battle and sees that Negi is overpowering Fate. Negi gets a better Fate, and Fate tells him that the next attack will be the last. He tells him that before that, he supposes that he can hear what Negi's plans entail. Fate then says to forget he said anything. Alberio asks Evangeline what if he wasn't immortal but merely indestructible. He then further explains that 20 years ago, Ala Rubra failed to vanquish him. 10 years ago, we narrowly managed to steal him away with the sacrifice of a single hero. At the end of the volume, Alberio explains to Evangeline that sleeping beneath the World Tree is the mage of the beginning, the life maker. So thoughts on volume 35. So, I mean, the big thing obviously is, besides Negi fighting Fate, was this big secret. The secret of what is lying beneath the World Tree. It's a pretty big secret. I mean, it's the main enemy of Ala Rubra. And it looks like Negi, the Thousand Master Son, will have to pretty much pick up where his father left off. It's kind of interesting because, like, I think Asuna's, like, the Mage of the Beginning's daughter or something like that. So that, you gotta think that Asuna's gonna play a really big role here, too, outside of just Negi. So, We'll see what becomes of that big secret. So Negi fought against Fate. Crazy action all over the place. I mean, uh, over the top powers and spells. I mean, they've been building to this big battle for a while. Like, they met each other at the Ostia Festival, at the gate port when they first went to the magical world. And it goes back to like Kyoto. So, I mean, Fate versus Negi, and Negi now is like super Negi with like Magia Rebia, all the thunder attacks and lightning stuff and whatnot. It's pretty fun to watch, and as it should be, because we have recognized that both these two are very powerful, and they've wanted to fight each other for a while now, and here it is. It's interesting that Negi and Fate fought against the other Avarankus too. Um, you know, it's kind of strange because Fate was seemingly turned on the people that are trying to initiate the same goals. So it's kind of like, okay, you fought against the other Avarankus, cool. Like, but you still get Asuna, you still get the Great Grandmaster Key, which is what these other people wanted anyway. So it's really odd in a sense. It's like I don't, Fate has very questionable actions, especially when it comes to Negi. You see that the magical world and the old world are converging. We get to see characters back on Earth finally. Everything is literally coming together, and you have the likes of Evangeline, Asian, and Alberio there. Uh, it should be expected that they'll play a role in all of this chaos. Um, and those three are also super powerful guys too. So that should be interesting. But it looks like Ayaka seems to know a little bit more than she was letting on, and it looks like pretty much all the students kind of know now that like something weird is going on. Negi isn't like just some normal 10-year-old, and that there is magic and whatnot. It also seems like the end of the magical world is just happening, and that Negi is the only one that can stop it. Um, Very interesting, just action. This volume was just like really action packed. We're reaching the climax now. It looks like Negi and Fate will end their battle in the next volume. So this one is just like all action, setting up big things. I mean, you got the mage at the beginning. You have a part of the magical world entering Earth. So should be interesting moving forward. So that's all for today. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel if you're on YouTube, or follow, share, and comment on this channel if you're listening to this on SoundCloud. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, please rate, review, and share this channel. Thank you for listening to these manga reviews. Next week, I will finish up Negima by reviewing volumes 36 through 38, and also read pages 8 to 10 of my short story, The Orthodox Clash. I'll also reveal the next manga series that I am going to review as well. So, thank you, and until next time.